Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between Evil Genius's Puma versus Complexity's Killer. I believe it's Complexity's Killer here on Entombed Valley. Evil Genius's Puma spawning as a red Terran player over here on the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Killer spawning on the bottom right hand side of the map as the blue Protoss. Now, before I say anything or do anything else, if you guys notice any differences in the video, I am trying to improve my video quality. A lot of people out there were saying that they couldn't get up to the 30 frames a second for some reason. Some people were saying that it was a little bit choppy in some other locations as well. So I'm just trying to address and get that fixed. You may have noticed a little bit of a black screen at the early part of the game. That's just to make sure that when I do load up StarCraft, everything is there. Now, Entombed Valley, I believe it is forced cross spawns on Entombed Valley in this particular version, and I really don't agree with it. The reason why I don't agree with it is because it isn't a spiral sort of. Like the map is, the map is a decent size, and it isn't a spiral sort of symmetry on the map. If you spawn on same as the north as on the south, then your opponent and you have the same amount of advantages and disadvantages. So far, we're gonna see a little bit of harassment coming in from Killer. So far, SCV gonna come in, be able to harass that probe away, as we see that Puma is not going for a gas as of yet. And with a delay in gas, we'll see if he is going to be going for that fast command center. Now, Entombed Valley, one of those maps that has been part of the map pool for quite some time, you have a pretty easy to take natural expansion, you have a very wide open ramp, and then you have destructible rocks leading into your third base. So it is fairly easy to get into 3 bases on this map, and we'll see if the game will even go that long, or if perhaps these players will try to do something a little bit more sneaky. The probe is still coming in to do a little bit more harassment. It looks like the SCV will be able to return. And now a new SCV may try to finish off this wall off here. And yes, the SCV is on the correct side of the supply depot, making sure the probe can't do any harassment. Now the SCV of Puma scouting out, and perhaps this isn't a forced cross spawn only, as Puma, unless he is unaware, is now scouting the bottom left hand side of the map. I originally thought that because Killer went straight across the map, and it was forced cross spawns, but that could possibly not be the case. The Marine was able to get the shot off there, finish it, and now perhaps he's going to be doing a little bit of scouting as the SCV is still wandering around. Let's take a look into Complexity or Killer's base right now. You can see that he is going for the assimilator. He did get that earlier Zealot and now going to follow it up with a Stalker. The SCV may get taken out. The SCV most likely will get taken out by the Stalker. As you see, the Stalker is being chrono boosted, as we also see a bunker now being established on the front door. It will be a little bit of time as the Zealot now trying to perhaps chase after the SCV. The SCV needing one more hit to getting taken out, but is able to back off. He knows his opponent did get the gas, and now this SCV is simply perhaps going to hide on the far side of the map. Now the interesting proposition, or the interesting problem here now, is going to be this very, very wide ramp. If the Stalkers and the Zealots actually try to run around, they would be able to do exactly that. Perhaps run around the side and then actually get up the ramp. We're going to see the one Stalker now looking for that SCV, has not found it. The SCV is actually hidden by the destructible rocks, and the Stalker will he see it? Yes, he does. He does spot the SCV, and it does go down. Zealot now still holding into the center portion of the map at the center Zelnaga Tower. Meanwhile, command center has been completed, upgrading to an orbital command. Killer not too far behind, setting up his nexus as well, but the orbital command will definitely help out, as it does effectively mine as quickly as, I believe, 6 harvesters. Stalker now apparently looking for any sort of proxy play on this map. There are a lot of different routes that you can take in order to do your harassment, and we'll see whether or not the Stalker will find or will do anything. Perhaps try to do a little bit more harassment. There is one SCV there on patrol. The SCV now running up the ramp, able to get up there, and now this SCV knows that the Stalkers are out. Gateways are being established. Probes are being transferred by Killer. So Killer is going to be running off of three warp gates plus a robotics facility, perhaps Colossi, Immortals, and Observers. will be added here. Meanwhile, Puma doing a little bit of swapping around, adding a reactor, and now going into siege tanks with mass marines. We'll see how effective that will be. And the marines, if you take a look at them, the marines do not have stim. They do not have combat shield. A tech lab I do not think was ever added. So these marines are pretty much going to be naked for quite some time, as more and more marines are still funneling down. Harvester count 36 to 31. 2 mules currently mining away. Not much happening. Killer is already running up on 4 gas though, so he may be trying to store up gas to get Colossi when he does have enough. The scanner sweep does come into play. Perhaps the robotics bay, yes, going to be hidden off over here. So right as the robotics bay is complete, oh, cancelled. Wow. So apparently the robotics bay was cancelled in order to get more units, as we now see Marines and the siege tanks trying to do a bit of a push. So a push is going to happen here. New waves of units will be rallied instead. An Immortal now being trained by Killer. But I think this is just a cautionary group of units. Killer may have over-responded or overreacted to this. Sentries and Zealots are now coming in on the far side. The Marine should spot this. Yes, and very nicely done by Killer to make sure that he does not see the entire attacking force. And now we see that the siege tanks and the Marines can't quite decide whether or not they want to hold on to the center, but one group of Marines will be off over here, as now we see Stalkers simply pushing their way across the center. A little bit dangerous, as the siege tank could have shelled out a lot of damage well before they got within range and on the other side of that brush. Puma has already started his second command, or his third command center for his second expansion, his third base. Level 1 weapons upgrade already coming in, supply drops coming in, and this is all at around the 10-minute mark. So Puma is really keeping up in terms of his macro, but Killer is not too far behind either. We'll see how this will all play out. Killer now looking to take down the destructible rocks here. That shouldn't be a problem. The Marine now simply hiding and waiting to see if a Nexus will be warped in. If that Nexus is warped in, Puma will know about it. And both of these players aren't really trying to engage each other. Still curious as to why Puma has yet to establish a starport. He is building up a reactor now, and he looked like he was thinking about building another reactor here. But perhaps this barracks will go ahead and lift off and land and be able to train up more Marines, as Killer now placing down multiple pylons in multiple portions of the map. So far, the Marine hasn't seen anything new. The orbital command has been calling in mules or perhaps using scanner sweep, has not lifted off yet. We're seeing Puma now going into the 11-minute mark in the game. The timings are becoming much tighter in StarCraft 2, as players are able to know their timing, getting better game sense, and we should be starting 2-2 upgrades or 2-1 upgrades momentarily, and this is going to be a huge boost. Proxy pylons are set up by Killer, but no one really engaging. A probe was trying to get underneath. Oh, Puma opting to now lift off his orbital command, as a group of Marines now make their way over. The Marines still do not have stim. No units making their way in. There is one observer now pushing in, as Puma is strategically positioning these siege tanks to cover both of the ramps. Nicely done. If the units try to go a little bit too... Oh yeah, the siege tanks gonna be able to shell out at both locations, with some overlapping each other, as a factory now floating out. So even though Puma did get siege tech, he is still using that factory as a scouting building. Stalkers, Zealots, Colossi, Immortals, level 1 weapons upgrade and armor upgrade coming in for the Protoss, level 2 weapons and level 1 armor coming in for the Terran. We are also getting into the Twilight Council, as we are going to have a large engagement in the center. Here we go, Stalkers engaging. They are not activating the Zonaga Tower, so they don't see the Colossi. Colossi now charging back in, but they are a little bit slower than the rest of those units, and the Stalkers are unable to pursue, as the Marines do have stim. Puma with a slight food advantage 15 and a slight harvester advantage 3. It looked like Puma was looking for an observer, could not find one, as we still see more and more probes coming in. nexus of Killer finally being completed, but it is still significantly late. And the reason why I am concerned is because that means that the main base is going to be mined out from Protoss much more quickly. You can see already down to 320 minerals in some of those mineral patches compared to Terran, who has been using mules. And even though he has been using mules, he's almost ahead. He is now down to what, 6 mineral patches, so not too far, as a drop now looking to come in. Drop coming in along the bottom side. It is going to most likely stop here and perhaps get some damage on those probes, but we see a large group of Colossi, Zealots, and Sentries already waiting and ready to go. Marauders and Marines now pushing out on that front door. Stalkers now making a move, and this is a nice head fake. Puma moving out in broad view of all of these observers, and now Killer is coming in to respond to that. You can now see that the units are making their rounds, making sure that nothing else strange is happening. And what is this medevac going to do? The medevac is going to be coming in. The medevac, did it spot the photon cannon? Yes, it spotted one photon cannon here as an observer, now able to barely fly away and get back off to the north. We'll see whether or not the medevac is going to do anything sneaky. No, it's just going to drop straight in plain sight now. Dropping here, you can see that there are Zealots already warping in. The pylon may get taken down. No, not taken down in time, as the Marauders and the Marines are backing off. Colossi have rejoined in. The Marauders and the Marines trying to finish it off, but no. Killer doing a great job cleaning up that drop. And great response time. But now the Marines and the Marauders with their 2-1 upgrades charging into the center. Vikings now being added in addition to Ghosts. Ghost with the Mobius reactor will have enough energy for an EMP immediately, as Killer taking the opportunity to establish up his 4th base. This is a huge advantage to be able to establish up your 4th base now. There is already a command center coming in from Puma, but it will take a little bit of time in order to clear out this probe and deal with this pylon, especially as both of these players are being rather aggressive. The medevacs don't know about this nexus either, so that will be a little bit of bad news as an SCV now moves to finish off a probe and perhaps take down this proxy pylon. Colossi, and 5 of them, very large in number, looking to perhaps put a dent in this massive bio army, but they will be going up against upgraded Vikings. Vikings are already upgraded 1-0. Meanwhile, the Colossi are going to have level 2 armor. So that is going to be very difficult to try to penetrate that armor, especially if you add in some Guardian shields. And here we go. Here's the engagement. The Zealots do have charge, now making their way in. Puma unable to save any of that as the Vikings finish off one easy observer, and now the Vikings are going at it. Siege tanks are in siege mode. Marauders and Marines, EMP shockwaves coming in. The Stalkers are not engaging at all. The Stalkers engaging against the Vikings as they should be. But this is going to be a bit of an issue as the Ghosts now trying to make their way in, and Puma perhaps going to get a nice flank. No, force fields come in, and finally Killer is forced to retreat. So Killer in a bit of a trouble here. Marines and Marauders are in the red. They cannot continue to chase, as Killer now currently running on 4 bases. But we see a large attack force coming in from Puma. Will Killer be able to replenish his forces quickly enough? That is the question, as we now see Vikings now trying to go after that Colossus. The units are backing off. Puma still does, oh, he knows about that expansion now, may perhaps try to take it out. There's a force field, but the force field will be taken out by the Colossi. Zealot simply charging in. There's an EMP shockwave. Vikings still chasing after that Colossus. The Colossus down to 20 hit points, and all the Vikings are now destroyed. Marauders and Marines finishing off the Nexus. Marauders and Marines also charging up into the 3rd base. We'll see a very narrow choke point. How is it going to be utilized? I don't see any more Ghosts for EMPs, as the one Colossus is down to 20 hit points, 25 shields. Marauders and Marines are backing off, as we see the Marauders and Marines charging in, trying to do another flank. Perhaps Puma, yes, with siege tanks on the low ground, utilizing the fact that his opponent's going to need to chase. Killer does have another base on the bottom left-hand side of the map, but it may not matter if all of the production buildings do go down, and Puma is threatening on that front door of the 3rd base. And as soon as this 3rd base falls down, the economy is going to fall too much. But we do see High Templar. High Templar with Psystorm could come in and start raining down. Yes, the siege tanks are going to be in problem. They are immobile right now. Vikings getting destroyed. Archon now being merged in the center, and the Archon did deal some damage, but did it deal enough? The Archon now getting destroyed by Marauders straight in that group there. The Archon does have 3-2 upgrades, but with no shield upgrade, it's not going to be that beneficial. High Templar still waiting for a bit more energy, but the home field advantage for Killer simply too much, as the Marines and the Marauders are still coming in a single file line across the map. Worker kill count 17 compared to 4. Harvester count is now 60 to 60, as we finally see Puma looking to strip mine this expansion here. Probes are now running away, but more and more probes will get taken out. High Templars, it didn't look like much was happening here. The Marauders and the Marines are now attempting to back off. There is enough Stalkers to finish off the Vikings, as the Marauders and the Marines are now chasing after those probes, but the probes would just eat into a lot of the hit points on the Marauders and the Marines if they continued to stim. Zealots are now going to engage. Colossi need to make their way over. Psystorm coming in. Psystorm is raining down in multiple places, and beautiful Psystorms in multiple locations. The Colossi are going to be a very, very big threat now, and those Archons going to be an even larger threat, as an Archon with 7 shields able to survive. And now perhaps it should be pulled back just a bit. 1 or 2 quick shots, and that would be a very, very bad day for that Archon. The shields are replenishing, but the Ghosts are going to focus down. Yes, the Ghosts are in cloak mode right now. And is he going to focus down that Archon? That Archon is low on hit points, but the Archon does have a faster movement speed. Ghosts are not addicted to those stim packs at all. Puma now needing to perhaps rebuild his economy. Both players very even in this battle. Army compositions are fairly even as well, but Terran significantly less in gas. 1 Marine on a mission to take down as many probes as possible, and it looks like it will be doing exactly that. Already getting 2 kills. Perhaps it will get 3. Yes, 3, up to 3. But that is still very, very strong there, as we now see Vikings making their way in. The Vikings hunting after Colossi. The Colossi have no Stalker support, and this is huge. The Stalkers finally blink underneath, getting off 1 Viking, but the Colossi taking so much damage. Shield upgrades should be coming in soon, as the Colossi are such an expensive unit along with Archons that you cannot have a Marine be able to deal 9 damage through those shields, as that is a significant portion of the Colossi, and more than the majority, the overwhelming majority of the stats on an Archon. Main bases are pretty much already mined out. We can see Vikings now looking to push their way in. The 1 Colossus is now down to 51 hit points. That additional shields really helping out, reducing the amount of damage that those Vikings are able to deal. Double Colossi production, but Puma, let's take a look at the economy, has a slight advantage now. Really, it is 4 bases to, I would assume, or 3 bases to 4 bases. So Killer, taking a look at the losses, are very even. This is looking to be a great matchup, and the Marines and the Marauders are simply trying to regroup once more. But the longer Puma waits, the worse it's going to be, unless he's able to get those EMP shockwaves off on those High Templars, things are going to be bad. Now, Psystorm, a feedback on a medevac. The medevac was down to 3 hit points, a little bit more energy, and it would have been completely destroyed, losing another medevac. Stalkers now making their way in. This group of Marauders will be destroyed. The worker kill count 30 compared to 4. And it is still 66 probes to 60 SCVs, as 1 poor Zealot in the center going to get overrun by Terran. There we go. All the units are now in retreat. You can see that Killer knows exactly where everything is going on right now, as the Vikings are going to be able to deal 34 damage per attack, a very, very large number there. You can see how much damage is dealt. 2 waves of Lancer torpedoes taking it down. And Puma just in a very, very nice situation here, being able to handle this. But in comes the Stalkers. The Stalkers able to blink after take down 1 Viking, but trading a Viking for a Colossus is not good news, as the Colossi, this dead area here. Puma utilizing that dead area where the Stalkers cannot shoot from underneath, and that has been huge. The Vikings now chasing after the Colossi. Will the Stalkers be able to get there? It looks like the Colossi are going to get destroyed. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3, and wow, this is a complete misplay by Killer, completely getting flanked. Puma utilizing that high ground, or that empty ground there, making sure that the units can't attack, and Puma has dealt a devastating blow as more Colossi are being trained. You can see that there is one ghost there. The ghost did get destroyed. More Vikings being added, but Puma has already really dwindled or just caused those Colossi numbers to fall. But in comes some Psystorm. The Vikings taking a lot of damage. The Zealots now need to back off. Is more Psystorm going to come in? The EMP Shockwaves could be coming in. Yes, there they are. No more energy on those High Templars, but 4 more now coming in from the backfield. Is it going to be enough? High Templars, brilliant splits by Puma already, but we now need to see another Psystorm down here. No, it does not come in time, and I think Puma has a slight advantage in this battle as the Archons are now trying to run away, and Puma, with a very, very large army, twice in size, should be able to clean up this expansion. 7 High Templars, 8 High Templars now warping in. It looks as though a round of Zealots could be coming in shortly as well. Zealots now going to charge in. There is one Ghost here. The Marauders stimming and kiting those Zealots as another group of Marauders and Marines finish it off. And that is huge. Puma now looking to re-establish and take up another base. It doesn't look like he will be able to do that anytime soon, especially with pylons blocking his way. And now Killer with only 2 Colossi and 8 High Templar. It's weird to use that phrase, only, for 2 Colossi and 8 High Templar. 1 Archon now being merged, as opposed to even waiting for the Psystorm. And it's really going to come down to how much damage these High Templars are able to deal. The Colossi need to be very, very careful. The Vikings are going to spot them in just a moment. Do they spot them? Not yet. The Ghosts are going to come in. And here we go. Here's another battle. Here's another engagement. The Vikings are using and now able to really deplete the hit points. The Colossus will get taken down after that round. And now no more Colossi left. Just 2 Colossi now left. 2 Archons now being here, as we perhaps should be getting some more Psystorm. Psystorm should be raining down. Archon's attempting to run away. Is it going to be enough? The Archon now down to 38 hit points. It gets destroyed. Psystorm does split the group there, but if he had gotten the Psystorm off, perhaps he could have saved another Archon in that engagement. But it's really starting to snowball. Puma taking a very, very nice lead now, continuing to take down more and more Colossi. Archons now trying to focus down those Vikings. The Vikings are not biological, obviously, as the Vikings and now EMP Shockwaves come in. Puma just outlasting Killer in this long game. 30 minutes already, and it really feels like, yes, Killer finally has to give the GG to Puma. Once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in the series between Puma and Killer.